Oh. Hey, Jenn Dyes here with Status Coup, and we're here with special guest Melissa Mays. Ty Bayless is behind the camera. Hello, Melissa.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Here comes Ty. Hold on. We'll wait for Ty. So we are here in Flint, Michigan from an undisclosed location. But we actually just had kind of a long day, Ty and I, and then we met up with Melissa to do this live stream. We were actually at a Joe Biden event, which might not...
Very exciting and exhilarating, I would say.
Exhilarating may not be the word that
Obviously, I'm being facetious.
Yeah, exactly. So not the most lively event. It was I think interesting.
What did you think about it?
So I think that it was very tightly controlled.
Absolutely.
I didn't know about it.
Because, well, and that's the thing that I want to ask you about in just a second Melissa is obviously one of the most prominent Flint residents. She didn't know about it at all. And so we went to this event in a pretty small venue, and it was not a lot of people. I would say there were probably as many media or more.
Yeah, more media and police there, period. Like together, like more collectively, media and police outweighed the audience that was there. It was probably about regular people because he had a lot of staff there too. Cory Booker had a lot of staff there. So I would say it was about maybe 30 people there, 30, 40 people, 50 at the most. It's about 30 or 40 people. All the rest of them were staffers, media, and the police that was watching over everything.
Yeah, so to back up just a little bit, Joe Biden did a Flint event today. It was thrown together really last minute. The only reason we knew about it is because we're on Joe Biden's press list. And they sent out this press email saying, RSVP press link right here, details to come. They didn't even tell us the time initially. So this morning we finally got the time, we got the venue. We show up, there's not a lot of people there. It said gathering time at 1:15. And we showed up at pretty much at 1:15.
What was the joke I made?
I don't remember.
I said, oh, she was like, oh, well, it's gonna start by the time we get there. I was like, nah, Joe Biden likes to pander, so he's gonna be late because he think all black people late, and then we'll get there and it didn't start. So when we got there, it hadn't started. They hadn't set up chairs or nothing. They had all the press and everything sitting in another room, almost as if it was like they didn't want us to see something. Like they had us waiting like in an overflow room. And then, I don't know, we were there for about 40 minutes, and then it was like, you can come in.
Yeah, exactly. They kind of immediately shuttled us into this separate room. And I did actually have to go to the bathroom, but I decided to head out of the room. And I asked this kind cop, like, please, I have to go to the bathroom. Please let me in. So he let me in the venue a little bit early. So I scoped things out. I did go to the bathroom. I'm not a liar. But yeah, there were very few chairs there. So that was our our first.
Please, my little white self.
Exactly. Well,
Like and share this.
Sometimes I have to use my white privilege to report on what I can. I feel strongly about that.
Every time, but I get caught.
So I got into the venue a little bit early and got to take a couple pictures, and Jordan posted those on Twitter to show that there were just a few chairs set up. And so eventually, we got out of the press area. I went back to the press area where I was supposed to be, but we got put it back into the venue where it was, in the space that it was. Tons and tons of press from all different types, local news, national news. And then the supporters were there. And so eventually I said, to one of the Biden staffers, I said, is this an open event, or is this an event just for invited guests? And she says, oh, it's for invited guests. So speak on that, Melissa. You, as we said, prominent Flint resident, you had no idea about this.
No, I actually saw that Biden was coming to Flint today, and actually one of Jordan's tweets, because he had put it in the top. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then at work, I was at the office, and one of my coworkers is like, hey, did you get invited to the Biden thing? I'm like, what are you talking about? And then that's how I found out about it. And then I was asking around, and nobody knew. So none of us knew, like the regular people. And I mean, we do social work. We work with the community. So you'd think if you want to hear from the community and the people directly impacted by what's going on in Flint and the people who directly work with them to get them resources, I mean, an invite Probably would have got a good
Too much,
idea.
Like, right? Why would they want to
Find
do that?
out what's actually happening. I don't know. I mean, why ask the people what's happening to them?
That's what I find so bizarre. It was such a weird event. I'm going to get back to the event in just a second, but I want to remind you, please smash that like button. The way that YouTube's algorithm works is you have to hit the like button so that it can then show more people that the stream is live in their feeds. That's how we get the word out. You can also share us on Twitter, Facebook, your Facebook groups, your subreddits, absolutely everywhere you can. Help get the word out. No one else is out here reporting like this. So let's talk a little bit more about this Biden event. It was such a weird kind of vibe. Just, I think because it was such a closed event and just so full of press, I found that it was an absolute contrast to the Bernie Sanders events, which Bernie Sanders, what was it, 2 days ago, held a town hall in Flint. So kind of contrast that event to this one.
Well, I mean, people were waiting outside, and it was anybody who wanted to show up. You saw the event posted, you can RSVP, and even if you didn't RSVP, they would make space for you. I mean, the bleachers were overcrowded, especially with students and young people, and then there was space on the floor, which is where we were at, which was filled with the grassroots frontline groups. And, I mean, it was very well represented. I saw an article in the New York Times saying it was all white people, and I'm like, okay, I'm a white people, and I was, sore thumb, where we were at and everything, because I looked around and it was beautiful, because it represented Flint, so there was the black families, there were Hispanic families, Latin America, and then also the Middle Eastern families, all surrounding just even where I was at, and then throughout the stands, and then the age differences, seeing these young people, and then seeing people come through and in there with their walkers and wheelchairs because they feel that a change. And there was so much energy. Everybody was hugging each other, and everybody was laughing and having a great time. It was so high energy, and then it was a town hall where actually our frontline leaders got to speak and present questions to Bernie, and he answered. I mean, Nayyar Sharif, who is our executive director at Flint Rising, had some strong questions about emergency management, about what we actually need, what Flint actually needs as a poisoned, black Muslim woman and the leader of our nonprofit group on the front lines here in Flint. She was listened and respected and honored, and he answered her questions, and it was awesome because we felt a part of it as opposed to, okay, this dude's talking at me, and but at least we were invited, so at least the public was invited, so I guess there's that too. But no, I thought it was amazing, and there was just so much energy and just so much strength among the panel and everybody there, and people were walking out of there just hugging, high-fiving, and that we need that here in Flint. We don't have enough of that.
Yeah, of course. And I honestly, from the perspective of press, I noticed such a difference in the way that the two groups treated press. So it wasn't like at the Joe Biden event, we weren't mistreated or anything. It wasn't like at the Pete Buttigieg event where Jamal actually had his press credential ripped off, which was incredibly crazy.
Really?
Yes, yeah. They physically ripped off Jamal's press credential saying, I don't think you're supposed to be here at a Pete Buttigieg event. Yeah.
Oh Lord, they picked the right one.
It
Couldn't
was.
have been me. Y'all would have been belling me out.
I don't know how Jamal held his composure. It was absolutely an assault. Just completely bizarre. But it wasn't like that. It wasn't as if we were mistreated, but we were definitely put in different areas, as we said. And I felt like I interviewed one woman before the event started just to get some interviews in. And I felt like I was doing something wrong. Like they were just looking at me like, what is she doing? Why is this press person not in the press pen? So yeah, so Ty behind the camera saying Simone Sanders was in fact there, the press director.
Maybe it was because she noticed me. I met her during the DNC race, so maybe it was that because we had a conversation there. But it was almost like she looked at me and then she talked to somebody, then they started looking at their phone. And maybe I was paranoid, but in my head I'm like, are they looking at our videos? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, you never know, and it was just such a weird feeling, like as if we weren't supposed to do actual journalism there. Most people there, most press there, were literally just filming Joe Biden's speech and Cory Booker's speech. As we mentioned, Cory Booker was there. He also gave an endorsement on top of Kamala Harris's endorsement from yesterday. So, or maybe that was the day before. I'm getting my days mixed up now. Either way, it was a very weird vibe. We actually did get, and we will show you this in what I think is kind of an incredible interview on the part of the interviewees after the event. And I felt a little bit more freedom after the event to interview people. But that's in contrast to Bernie Sanders events where we're all over the place. We interview, members of the campaign. We interview mostly regular people, everyday people. We always are out there giving the microphone back to the people. And we feel totally fine and like it's accepted and like approved of by the Bernie campaign.
I think that's a good word, approved. It almost seems like I don't, maybe secretive, but it's almost like you can't, that's like the energy you feel like you can't do nothing, or you're watching. Now that could be, what did I say? Yeah, I can be, it can be me is what I'm saying. I can be projecting is what I was looking for. I can be projecting, it can be me, but it seemed that way. It seemed like you couldn't do much with, I mean, I was standing right next to the press, the people that follow Joe Biden, what do they call the press corps? I was next to the press corps and I was talking to them, and initially it took a little bit, but they was like kind of not saying anything. Then we started talking and they was like, I'm not supposed to have feelings. I'm like, yeah, you're not supposed to have feelings on camera, but you can have feelings. And they feel the exact, if I don't tell you the truth, or I'm not telling you who they are, but I spoke to a female and a male, both white. And they felt they was like, how is he even here right now? And I started talking about what he's done in the past, what Joe Biden's done in the past. It was like, absolutely, like that's what we don't get. Like, why is he here? They said we're amazed that he has the momentum, but we're not supposed to have an opinion. So they ain't saying nothing. They getting paid. They're doing what they're supposed to do. But they couldn't believe it, and they was like, yeah, I don't know why anyone isn't challenging him. Period. We had a conversation. The two people I was standing next to, the two on my left. Yeah.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. I'll take a break here in the middle of our great conversation to say, smash that like button. Keep hitting the like button. The more you do, the more people will see this stream. Share it absolutely everywhere. I also want to mention we are back up to 1,800 members, which is incredible. We had some people's cards get declined every month. It's totally normal. So we're back up to 1,800 members, but we need to reach 100 additional members by the end of this trip. I believe we are 85 members away from that. So please join at statuscoup.com/join. And coming off of what you just said, I think it was Kate Baldwin this morning on CNN who said, oh, I'm glad I don't have to have an opinion, when they were talking specifically about Joe Biden versus Bernie Sanders. And she was like, I'm glad I don't have to have an opinion. And it's like, but you do.
You do.
You should be able to.
God.
I mean, you should be able to speak your actual opinion and not what you're told to say.
She'll jump her ass into some shit that she cared about. She would. If it was something that she cared about, I see Kate Baldwin all the time jump in and give her opinion about things that's passionate to her. She just wants Biden to win, or at least she knows that her company that she works for wants Biden to win, and she can't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But she gives her opinion a lot. All of them do when they want to. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the things that upsets me, is that they're going to give their opinion when it matters to them, not when it matters to someone else. When it has nothing to do with them, oh, I'm just neutral. But when it has something to do with them, they're like on top of it. When if you want to keep it 100, either you're going to be 100 one way or 100 the other way. You can't pick and choose based on what makes you feel comfortable.
Absolutely. And so we have a super chat here. Keep the super chats coming. The super chat is from Jordan Sheridan. So let's read what he has to say.
Oh, that's Jordan?
Yeah. It's just Jordan. So $10 to the super chat. Thanks so much, Jordan. We're 200 members away from 2,000. We've spent nearly $15,000, which is true. We have spent nearly $15,000 to cover this primary because we truly believe so much in democracy and in giving the microphone back to the people that is what we have had to do. That has been our mission, and we have stuck with it. We've gone to Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, California, and now Michigan.
And even before the primaries, we were in Miami, Detroit, covering the debates. Miami, Detroit.
South Bend, Indiana.
Yeah.
We also, whenever we can, cover D.C. We cover New York. Jordan went on a trip with Anat to London just to get away for a couple of days, and he still reported there because he believes in that so strongly. So if we don't grow, so this is the truth, if we don't grow another 100 members ASAP, then we will not be able to travel. So Jordan got press credentials to cover the Democratic debate in Arizona, including the spin room. We have been trying so long and so hard to get credentials to a Democratic debate. So we need him in Arizona. We need to grow another 100 members by the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, I remember when we were in Miami and they wouldn't let us in, and we just had to bogart the front. And we interviewed Jimmy Dore like right in the front of the first debate in Miami, and they wouldn't let us in. And now he's in, and you know when y'all give him the mic and let him loose.
Yeah, who knows what could happen when Jordan is able to challenge Joe Biden's campaign in the spin room. It will be absolutely incredible. The spin room is where he had his Donna Brazile moment. Remember that famous Jordan looking at the camera moment? That's the one. So we need another moment like that. We need another Jordan looking into the camera because the answers are ridiculous. And it's not because his questions are ridiculous. His questions are what the media should be asking anyway. But we need Jordan on the ground in Arizona. Become a member, statuscoup.com/join. And please keep the super chats coming. And yeah, so Melissa, I want to ask you how you feel about the different ways that Bernie Sanders has handled this primary in Flint versus the way that Joe Biden has handled this primary in Flint specifically, but of Michigan as a whole as well.
Well, even before he was running and even after the 2016 election, after Flint was no longer the hot thing in the news, he came to Flint. He came to Flint several times and met with people with no press and actually asked us what was going on and what we needed from him. He was actually, I believe, in Chicago, made the trip over, and we were going over the infrastructure plan. And one of the things I pointed out was the infrastructure plan at the time that was being introduced had nothing to do with water infrastructure. It was all bridges and roads, which are important. But if we can't drink the water, or if the water pipes are like down the street from where we are, if the water pipes are rupturing underneath the road, your road caves in. That's what's happening. Giant potholes, they just patch it instead of replacing the destroyed mains, and it's creating more and more of a hazard. So, okay, fix bridges and roads, important, but also the water pipes, because also you shouldn't be drinking, contaminants. You shouldn't be drinking lead, bacteria, disinfection byproducts. Throwing more chemicals in to try to fix a chemical problem is what we're dealing with here in Flint. But also, so he was just appalled, and he didn't realize how high our water bills were. He didn't realize it. So he also signed on, and Bernie he's our Senate sponsor for the Water Act, which was introduced several times and hasn't got a lot of traction until recently. And then Rokana and I believe Brenda Lawrence have reintroduced it in 2019. And what it does is it closes a loophole on corporate offshore profits to nothing creepy about that, to actually provide $35 billion a year in grants that the EPA can bestow upon cities that, like ours, that cannot afford these replacements, don't have credit to get another revolving fund loan, don't need the extra debt, but actually will give grants to places that are completely ignored. So you're looking at daycare centers, nursing homes, things that aren't covered by the laws, Native American reservations, and things that have terrible infrastructure, if any. And so it would provide grants to actually replace and update and maintain the water infrastructure in this country, and to work on the affordability aspect, because that's another big, huge issue, is that we have mass shutoffs happening in Detroit and Flint in the Great Lakes state, and where the water is contaminated, people cannot afford it, so their water's shut off. And while you're thinking, hey, okay, cool, so they're not getting poisoned. Yeah, true. But how are they supposed to wash their hands? We have the largest hepatitis outbreak happening, that's been happening in southeastern Michigan, because again it correlates with the hand washing and having no running water. But then now the coronavirus, and like the health department, the state keeps putting out, wash your hands, that's how you keep safe from this deadly pandemic. And our governor came out, and Gretchen Whitmer, who is a co-chair of Biden's national campaign now, she came out and said, everybody wash your hands to protect yourselves and others from the coronavirus, but then refused to use her executive powers that she has every right to use to stop these water shutoffs that are inhumane anyways. You're shutting water off to poor poor people because they simply can't afford it, while trying to say that they'd rather buy shoes and TVs. No. No. But that's been the theme. Like, there was actually a legislator down in Detroit that told people that if you want your water, then go down and get a bucket and take it out of the river. And so things like that. You know how people are like, and honestly, there's an article in Psychology Today that talks about why do people blame the victims, and it's based on fear, because people want to think that Flint, we did something to deserve being poisoned. So that way, if they can say, you guys did this is, you elected these people, you did this, so it can't possibly happen to me. Let me tell you something else. That's false. That's a false. You're assuring yourself that it's false, because the emergency manager law that stripped our democracy and silenced our elected officials locally and gave the state full power to switch our water and not treat it is on the books in 37 states. Might want to check to see if yours is one of them. But that's something that, you know, again, we need massive overhauls and massive changes. So the Bernie rally was awesome. It was a town hall. People were excited. They were talking about actual real change in all of the places that were being harmed. So not just clean water, environmental protection, climate change. What did he talk about? Criminal justice reform, you know, getting rid of these racist, sexist policies, you know, obviously reforming the immigration policy, treating people like humans, basically. So that's kind of a novel idea. And, you know, everybody was welcomed and everybody was comfortable, and, you know, that was great, and everybody was able to speak, you know, their minds and talk to each other. But then you have the Joe Biden, and it just, the rally today that I'd heard about online it's just another reminder that so many people are pushing for the same old, and if the status quo remains, there's no reason that you won't be the next Flint, because if nothing changes, nothing gets fixed, corrected, people get treated like humans instead of numbers, and if profit is always put over people, politics put over people, people are going to continue to die, and there's nothing that's protecting you unless you're 1% white male. There's nothing that's going to protect it from it happening to you. So basically, I feel like
white male, ain't nothing going to protect you if you in their way.
No,
period.
You know, ask my husband. So I just want to say that, like, it just reminds me of how big of a movement and how much energy there is to change, and change for the better for the people, versus the same old where the people are shut out. So.
Okay, yeah. Actually, Jordan has a question in for you. What have Biden and Obama done for Flint? So there's obviously a lot of discussion that people have, like, oh, Obama came and he drank the water, and we talked about this the other night in the interview.
In our documentary, the guy said that was the worst thing he could have ever done. The black guy at the greenhouse that we were in front of, and we pulled up and he got on his car. He said that was the worst thing Obama could have ever done, is drink the water to give people confidence, knowing that they wasn't for sure if the water was good or not, but to give people a false confidence that the water was safe. And even Michael on the documentary,
Moore.
Michael Moore even said that when he was on MSNBC. Like, that was the worst thing Obama could have done.
So I'm in that documentary, and they had asked me and the kids, and the look on our faces, you know, and then to hear our leaders like Nayyirah Sharif talks about it and how it was heartbreaking. We had been begging for Obama to declare us a disaster, because that means the federal government would come in and kind of rescue us from our state government who did this to us, who put us in this position, but then come in and get all of the federal resources. We could have had the Army Corps of Engineers replacing the mains, the service lines, interior plumbing. We, you know, like Michael Moore had pushed for, like, cisterns and water buffaloes, so we didn't have to make bottled water companies rich and live bottle to bottle, because there, as Jesse Jackson had said, there's no dignity in that. We want pipes, not bottles. And, you know, we're still living off of bottles, which we don't want to do. We have to pay for that, plus our giant water bills on top of it. It's ridiculous. But when Obama came, we were so excited. We're like, oh dear God, we're going to get help. He sees us. He knows. He declared the state of, he declared the state of emergency. Great, which that gave us a couple million in water filters and bottled water as a little interim. But then all of a sudden we're like, okay, cool. Now we're going to get help. We're going to get fixed. Hooray. And then he drank the water. And first of all, not one of us in that gym, there's 1,000 people shoved in there, believed. I took my kids out of school for that. We waited in line in the rain. Not one person believed that was Flint water. And
one thing that he did, and this is like reading body language. If you look at that thing, when he says, as far as I know and what people tell me, and he goes like this, and he like knocks.
Yeah.
That he was lying. That's like one of the ways that you can tell kind of people lying by their body language. He kind of paused, tapped, and said the waters are safe to drink, and he knew that he wasn't for sure. At the minimum, he wasn't for sure.
Well, Well, and at that time, we hadn't settled the lawsuit that I'm a part of yet to even start replacing the service lines, even one tiny piece. So I'm like, they dumped in all the orthophosphates, which is a chemical that's supposed to stick to the pipe. So the pipes were full of holes. There's nothing to stick to. And also, they came out later on saying it didn't work because they weren't sticking, because it's on the science aspect, the pH has to be steady. It has to be a good pH for the orthophosphates to stick to the pipes. While with ruptures and holes and everything, there's no way to keep it a steady pH. So then the scientists came out later saying, oh, in retrospect, that was a naive for us to think that it would work. And we're like, naive, that's our lives. So then the president drank that. And then what it told us was, you're on your own. And then he, instead of declaring us a disaster, he declared us an emergency, which left us in the state of Michigan's hands. The people that poisoned us were responsible for our recovery, which is why almost 6 years later we don't have one. So yes, so he did declare us an emergency, but also our mayor at the time, Mayor Weaver, declared it first, and then the county had to go along with it, and the state had to go along with it, and then the federal government went along with it. And we had some help, and I think the bottled water lasted for about 6 months. I remember in August, right around my birthday, it had run out. So they were saying that the bottled water was going to run out then, and it's been a panic, a nonstop re-traumatization of us. Like, here's a little bit of help, and it's not going to fix the problem, but here's a little Band-Aid. Good luck. So, and he said, I'm leaving you in the hands of your governor and your government. And the governor didn't even last 2 minutes on the stage. He got booed because he refused to come to Flint and actually face us. And he still hasn't faced us or justice. So then later and throughout then a bill got put in for aid for Flint, and it got knocked, and people voted against it, and all of a sudden you see that all over the place. Oh, Bernie voted against aid for Flint. Wrong. He voted for aid for us, but he refused to pass the bill that had the amendment on, these amendments attached to it by the opposition that would strip environmental protections from California during their drought, and then to prevent further droughts. So no, he voted against that, and they called it the poison pill, and he wasn't the only one. Actually, Elizabeth Warren voted against it too. And so it wasn't voting against help for us, which we did end up getting, but it was voting against that. And then I remember our Congressman Kildee saying that he didn't want to vote for it, but he felt that they were not going to give us anything. And actually, it had started at a much higher amount. And then the Republicans were like, nope, 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 nope. And even, just watching these people vote against us and not help us on that aspect for even just help for us, and then want to attach these nasty bills that, no, in Flint, one of the biggest things is, yes, we want help and we want to be fixed. We deserve it. But in no way are we going to want help or want to take help when it's harming somebody else. So no, do not you dare say, and I've gone off on people saying that, Bernie voted. No, he did not. He voted against harm against others. And they end up putting the bill for $170 million forward. The money ended up going to the state. And so there that is. And saying to replace the pipes. First of all, let me also be clear that our infrastructure, the damage and repairs to the infrastructure was estimated at $1.5 billion. Let me say that again with a B, $1.5 billion. That's for pipes. That does not include money for my kids' brains, my bones, the people who have died, the huge amount, spike in increases and loss of fertility, the mental health care people need. $1.5 billion for metal pipes to be replaced. So everybody's saying, well, $170 million should have fixed you. Oh, really? That's a drop in the literal drop in the poison bucket. It is a drop in the bucket, and we didn't even see that. The state took $50 million off the top for this Medicaid expansion. Then people are touting the Medicaid expansion. Guess what? My son just turned 21, doesn't cover him anymore. His poisoning didn't stop. His side effects aren't stopping. He still needs medical care. He has no health insurance right now. Doesn't cover adults. So the parents can just be poisoned as all can be. How are we supposed to take care of our poisoned children? It only covers children under the age of 21 and pregnant women for a short time after they deliver. That's it. It's the best they could get through. And also, by the way, expires next year. So please stop saying this, and this. Yeah, $50 million of that $170 million package went for that. Another $20 million went to the state to forgive a state revolving fund loan. So, okay, great, to the state. So everything to the state. They took $40 million to pay part of their lawsuit, my lawsuit, to replace the pipes. So, yeah, okay, great. So they stole our federal money. And then it's still floating out there. There's supposed to be money to replace water meters? That's what they're going to give us? It's just insane. So everybody's talking these numbers, and I'm like, get it right. Stop posting false information and misleading information, slightly accurate but spun information, because we're sick of it here in Flint. And I think America's sick of it, too, because you can see the responses. So then, yes, in the WIN Act of 2016, Obama, right before he left in December, signed off on it. And then everybody found out. We all knew what happened after that. Trump got in office. And what happened is the money went to the EPA to grant to the state of Michigan. Well, Trump froze the EPA grants. So there's that. And then all of a sudden, then everybody's like, oh, you're stopping money to Flint. And all of a sudden it gets released. And everybody's saying, well, Trump gave the money. Oh, just stop. Stop. First of all, the money didn't go to Flint. The money went to the state of Michigan to decide where it was going to be. And they tried attaching a $30,000, or no, it was bigger than that, an appropriation for a sinkhole in Fraser, Michigan, a mainly white city. So let me just say that. They tried to pass that in our state house. So stop. Stop trying to put this as a partisanship. This says both sides of the aisles failed us. We've got Democrats who failed us, failing us now. We've got Republicans that have failed us continually and still because they run our state and House and Senate. But no. So what did Obama do for us? Gave us hope and took it away. Gave a little bit and hoped. I mean, and honestly, I can get it. Like, he would say, well, your state did this. Your state's responsible, so they should take up for this. Yeah, well, our state had $1 billion rainy day fund. That would do a lot for us, but refuses. As soon as our new Democratic, obviously, Governor Snyder refused to do anything to help us because no. In his 75-point plan to address the Flint water crisis, he had said that he would replace 30 service lines out of the 30,000.
So that means he was pointing to 75 other people that did it instead of taking blame for it?
No, he was saying 75 points of things that were not addressing the actual problem. Yeah, you got it. But, I mean, he said put like $5.5 million towards the Capitol Theater downtown. So great, we can't drink our water, but we can go to a theater. Okay, cool. Not on our priority list. Yeah, then we have to buy Coke or bottled water. And then $20 million to Downtown Development Authority. Oh, guess what? They got parking meters. Sweet. So now I got to pay to park to go to city council meeting or to go to downtown to pay my water bill. I have to pay to park. That's cool. But I mean, so the money it's ridiculous, and all these things to help business and bring business back to Flint. We need to stop poisoning business people, employees, and customers. How about that? And so we're just sitting here going, this is ridiculous. So that was Snyder's plan. Then Governor Whitmer, who we got in, and I did vote for her, supported for her, because she said justice for Flint was going to change things, came in and immediately, right after she got in, said no more money for Flint. It's over. And so we're just like, oh, cool. So we're just going to stay poisoned? And then again, why you should care about this, I mean, if you don't, you're kind of a jerk. But why you should care about this is because it can happen to you. And if they can dismiss Flint and not fix us with all the attention we've had, the congressional hearings, rest in peace, Congressman Cummings, with all the things that have been brought out into light and the criminal charges, everything, if they can get away with sweeping us under the rug and not fixing us, it's going to make it that much easier for them to poison you.
100% preach, Melissa.
Man, I know.
Preach.
I told her, I said, y'all probably don't know, but all her friends black. That's why she like. And then what happened yesterday?
Kind of true. Yeah. I mean, it's Flint. I mean, we're diverse here, so that's what we are because we kind of rule.
Absolutely. You guys do rule. I want to say thank you so much to Kelly Elaine for 20. Kelly Elaine is amazing. $20 in the super chat. Thanks for being
my first follower on the section.
Oh, how nice.
Yeah. Follow the section independent.
So Kelly says, thanks for being in Flint again. Let's get Jordan to a spin room. He'll shake it up. Here, you can have that back. Yeah, Jordan will absolutely shake it up. Join statuscoup.com/join. If you are already a member but want to support us in another way, go to statuscoup.com/supportsc. That's statuscoup.com/supportsc. We also have some additional super chats. Keep the super chats coming. I love them. They help so much. So Susan Beaver, $1.99 in the super chat. No running water. Hand washing is disease spread. Yeah, exactly. So speak on that.
Well, I mean, that's why we have the largest outbreak, hepatitis A outbreak, deadly outbreak in history, because we have tens of thousands of homes with the water shut off. I mean, we're up here trying to fight to keep poison on. That's messed up because we know you have to flush the toilet. I had a family that was on my caseload that was literally going number 2 in a plastic bag, tying it up and putting it out in the garbage. And then what they were doing is going number 1 on top of each other, not on top of each other physically, but and then what they had to do was take snow. Yes, not on top of each other, in the toilet. And then what they would have to do when it was snowing, they would go outside and take snow, melt it on a pot on the stove, and then put it in the back of the toilet so they could flush the toilet. That's how we're forced to live in Flint. So this is what's happening. And not everybody's like that. Those are extreme situations, but that should never be happening at all. We're human beings. And so, I mean, again, so then Whitmer having the power, because the ACLU and NRDC, Natural Resources Defense Council, they're pushing because it's a matter of public safety and health right now. I mean, now that they've realized it's not a hoax, because some of them are quarantined, they're saying, oh, yeah, I guess wash your hands. You should wash your hands. How are you supposed to do that without running water, even if the water is poison? I mean, and it tears up your hands and it hurts, but at least I'm doing the best I can to keep my clients, my family, my sons from getting sick if I pick it up, because I'm out in the community. I see the community, and people don't have health care. How are they supposed to go to the doctor and get tested? And I think we only got like 300 or 400 kits for the state of Michigan. I'm like, oh, good God. And, so for testing for the coronavirus. And so how are we supposed to protect ourselves against a pandemic when we don't have running water? I mean, it's just try it one day going without using any water, not to brush your teeth, make ice cubes, not to make dinner, not to rinse your vegetables. And I'm from the South, so rinse your chicken, So, I mean, there's all these things that you do with water. What do you give your pets? And you don't even realize it. I mean, how do you make your juices or this or that or whatever? How do you do your dishes? Try doing it without water, or enjoy the fun that we have and try to do it with bottled water, which then in the back of your mind, you're asking, is that safe? And who's getting rich off of me being poisoned and not getting my pipes replaced inside the house, or those rusted, disgusting mains we have out in the street? Like what? Like, seriously, who's getting rich off of this, and why is this still allowed to happen? Because no, we don't want bottled water. We want what we want in Flint. One of the many things that we've asked for is that the tap water be safe coming out of the tap, that we pay the highest rates, 8 times the national average for in the country, that we pay the highest rates for, that it just doesn't harm us. I mean, why is that so horrific? And they call it radical. And that's, fine. We're radical. We don't want to be poisoned. We want to be fixed. We want health care so we can get treated for our poisoning. We want health care so we can go get tested for coronavirus. We want running water to wash our hands. I mean, we want healthy foods. We want to be treated like we're humans, and apparently that's radical. And according to one dude, he said that, my feelings about the Flint water crisis and what's been done to my sons is extreme. Okay, you be calm. You be calm when you watch your kids suffer and have to take your kid to the neurologist today like I did. He's on yet another medication. Real cool. I guess I'll just sit there and be like, please, thank you, sir, poison me, and can I have another? I don't think so.
It's absolutely devastating. I don't know how you live, honestly. You are so strong. You guys don't even realize how strong Melissa is. Just absolutely incredible. She keeps fighting.
The city of Flint, they poisoned the wrong city because we didn't just go away and die. We stood, we fought, we still fight. Whether you hear us in the mainstream media, or not, luckily we've got independent media that can get our stories out to help you guys too, to help inform you what's happening here, but also will help you. I connected with 2 other cities yesterday who's going through the same thing. They're dismissing them, and there's something wrong with their water. And I'll do what I can to help. We will in Flint. We do travel as much as we can to try to help other cities organize and be like, no, this ain't right. You got to change the laws. You got to hold these people accountable. And here's what we did. Here's our wins, and here's our fails. Don't repeat our fails. We'll help you through this. But I mean, you're not going to hear that if there's not independent media out there standing with us in the rain, snow, outside of the jail. And actually letting us speak for ourselves, because we have a lot of people out there that think it's okay. They are not from Flint. These outsiders that are not from Flint that try to silence our voices and speak for us, which is just disgusting. I mean, I posted that on International Women's Day, I'm having people tell me what I can and can't say about my own city and about my personal experiences being poisoned and living in this water crisis that's going on 6 years now.
Yeah, and if you guys want to get a first-hand view of these outsiders who are trying to silence Flint residents like Melissa, follow Melissa at Twitter at Flintgate, and you will see, look at her responses, check her her comment, like her tweets and her replies, because you'll see exactly what she's going through. You'll be able to follow the threads. It's completely disgusting. I want to, one sec. I just want to remind you guys to please smash that like button, share this stream with more people. I think we have almost 500 people watching right now. Let's get this up. More people need to see this. Get it way, way up. Share it absolutely everywhere. Also, thank you so much for the super chat. $4.99 in the super chat with a sticker. I love the stickers. They're so cute. It's a little keep it up guy working out. Thank you so much, Steady Drummer. We love you. Also, I want to make it very, very clear that we do not have the funding currently to send Jordan to Arizona to get in that debate, Dem debate spin room. Please support us. We cannot thank you enough to all of our members who have joined, to all of the people who have given us support already. But we need your help. We need to reach 100 additional members by tomorrow. So please join statuscoup.com/join. We have spent upwards of $15,000 on these trips to cover the primaries, to give the microphone back to the people. That's not even counting Jordan's trips to South Bend and Miami and the trips that came before that. That's not counting the expenses that we have outside of these trips specifically. So please help us out. You can also help us out at statuscoup.com/supportsc. You'll see kind of a drop down of a variety of options that you can support us at. If you want to support us in another way and aren't sure, email us at info@statuscoup.com. Yay! We have another completely amazing super chat by Annette Tarkington, $20 in the super chat. Another cute sticker. Thanks for being you. I love it. These stickers make me so happy. Keep them coming. Super chats, join for just as low as $5 a month. Statuscoup.com/join. And also support SC. So let's see here. Okay, so what we're going to do is play. I want to pivot to the clip, so I don't know if we can do that.
Yeah,
so
I was
I'll
just gonna
introduce
say, watch
it.
our video. Like you guys covered, or we covered when they were doing the liens on the homes and they were charging them like $10,000, $5,000 for water bills. Like she's not just saying that. Like you can look at, we did this like about a year ago, 2 years ago. We were here and people were getting liens on their home because they wasn't paying water that they wasn't paying. I mean, they was getting charged for water that they couldn't even use. And so they were trying to put liens on their homes. Right. But yeah, I can.
Yeah, for sure.
There's I think there's upwards of 22,000 people that did lose their homes in Flint, and they wonder why Flint's 60% renters. Well, this is a reason, because if you cannot afford your gigantic water bill that for some people is $200-$300 a month or more, and then there was a lady that got a $10,000 water bill because her water meter was incorrect or they read it wrong. Just nightmare stuff like this, because again, it's re-traumatization, new stress every day. But then you get a letter like I did that they were going to place my unpaid water bill balance as a lien on my home, which then meant that my home would go up for a tax auction. And Michigan is one of the few states that actually have this barbaric practice and making people homeless because they can't afford their poison. And I'm like, okay, so I guess I'll just pay top rate for a hitman to kill me slowly and painfully, and then also make me homeless. It's confusing and it's absurd. It's inhumane. But again, if it's not brought out to the light and it's not stopped, they get away with it, and they're going to continue to do it as much as they can. So I mean, they have been, and so yeah, let's again. Independent media is so important because it's the only way that people are going to hear what's actually happening, with no spin, no sugarcoating, no twisting of words, and nobody else's agenda and bias covering up our words and our experiences. So we need each other, and we need to stay connected, and we need to tell the truth about what's happening in our community, so then we can band together and change it.
100%. So next I want to set up a video for you. We're going to try something that we haven't tried before, which is playing a video directly from the camera instead of trying to play it on a computer and then having the camera on that, which is not super high tech, but this is high tech. I'm impressed, Ty. So this video is actually for so as we said, we went to the Biden event today in Flint. Not many people there, not many supporters there, because it was all invited guests. So we were actually able to conduct an interview with a couple of really, really sweet, really smart women, but women who are victims of manufacturing consent. They're victims of the mainstream media. They were not aware of several issues to do with Biden. I won't give it all away, but they weren't aware of his age, of his potential cognitive decline. They weren't aware of the fact that he had lied about his civil rights record or lack thereof. And they weren't aware that he had claimed to be arrested with Nelson Mandela for apartheid in South Africa. So it was a really interesting interview. And these women, I want to kind of, like, I'm feeling protective of them, because I saw some comments. We posted this video. I saw some comments like, oh, they're so uninformed. They're this or they're that. No, this is not the fault of people. This is the fault of the media and the narrative that is out there, that people are uninformed, that they don't know what's going on. And these women, to their complete credit, as soon as they heard these things, they were interested. They wanted to hear more. They wanted links. They wanted videos. They were shocked and horrified. So with that said, I want to show you this interview. Testing. Check. Good. Interview either of you? Just on. Jenn Dyes here with Status Coup, and tell me your names.
Rita Johnson.
Carletta Martin.
And what brought you out here today? Obviously, we're here at a Joe Biden event in Flint, Michigan. What brought you here today?
Well, we're both veterans, so that's our concern. Veterans' benefits getting cut. So we think that Biden's is a really good choice when it comes to helping the veterans.
What specifically are in his policies that you prefer about that?
Well, first of all, I think going to war, to me, that's the last resort. And we do not need a president that has the power to call war. That's very dangerous, especially when we don't know what we're going to war for.
So specifically, you're talking about Donald Trump and his entry into mindless wars.
We need to remove him.
So would you say that's a top concern for you is removing Trump?
Well, as a veteran, yes. Yes, that's a very big concern. And the economy as well.
For sure. Well, speaking of the economy, what do you say about Joe Biden's past support for NAFTA and the trade deals and the jobs that were lost specifically in Michigan due to the trade deals that he's supported in the past?
Okay, well, let's just say this. We do need to work on trade because there is a big disparity. The automobile industry, steel, things like that. There is a big disparity in that. However, that still does not give Trump the right to basically just cut off everything from any other country to say, look, this is what it is. It's not right. It's lopsided. And since it's lopsided, we're going to stop doing business. That's not a good way to negotiate. That's the way you run your business, but this is the United States. So we need to be more open than that.
What would you say? Okay, so obviously, again, we are in Flint, Michigan. The previous governor here was Governor Rick Snyder. Some of the same, I see the expression on your face. No one here is a big fan of Governor Snyder. That would be correct, yeah?
That's correct.
So what would you say about the fact that some of the same billionaires who donated to Rick Snyder have also donated to Joe Biden this time around, are trying to get him into office? Does that affect your vote or decision at all?
Well, some of the billionaires that have donated to Trump, who has donated to Bernie, they've donated, they're lobbyists. That's what they're going to do.
Just to correct that, no billionaire has donated to Bernie at all.
I stand corrected on Bernie, but Trump, any other politician, because if that's the case, he's one in a million.
Well, let's talk about Bernie for a second here. Now we're down to a two-person race, essentially. Tulsi Gabbard is still in the race, but between Bernie and Biden, why are you supporting Biden over Bernie? Do you want to?
Well, I'm looking at an age factor. Sometimes I think that's very important. So I lean more towards Biden for the read-ups I've done on him. And when it comes to age, I just feel like he may be more apt to do what he needs to do with a more sound mind.
They're about the same age, actually. And actually, some people have noticed that Joe Biden seems to be having trouble remembering certain things. He stumbled over Obama's name a couple times. He said he was running for Senate. He's said that he was a vice president in the 70s. He's made a lot of stumbles or gaffes or mistakes. Does that concern you, this chatter about a cognitive decline potentially with Joe Biden?
I'm going to have to research that a little further because I haven't seen that part of him. So I will definitely have to look into that.
Sure, understandably. What about you?
Well, when you said he stumbled, I mean, when you're out every day on a campaign trail, I mean, of course you're going to stumble. I don't know who haven't stumbled. So to call that out and to say that's specific, that's a little reach. That's far reaching to me.
Okay. Another thing that I definitely want to bring up is this is along the same lines. Joe Biden has recently said that he was arrested on his way to meet Nelson Mandela against apartheid. That turned out to be not true. He also has said that he fought for civil rights. That also turned out to not be true. Do those things concern you?
Well, I haven't heard that, but I'm sure that would concern me. That would concern me.
Sure, understandably again.
Yeah, that is a concern. I have to do a little more research and I have a little more time. But, I hadn't heard of that.
Of course, and I think probably the majority of people haven't, so that's why we ask these questions. Let's talk specifically about Flint. Governor Whitmer has come out in support of Joe Biden. How do you feel like Whitmer has done for the people of Flint? She did promise to reopen the free bottled water pods. That hasn't happened yet. Does that concern you?
Let me say this. Did she promise to reopen the bottled water distribution? Because I didn't think she promised to open that, because that was part of the lawsuit in which was settled with the ACLU, in which the bottled water was only supposed to be distributed to December, until December.
Right. So
2019. So I'm not familiar with her promising to open the distribution of water again, the sites.
it was one of her campaign issues. Other than that, we really haven't heard much of an update about that. So going back to Joe Biden, what do you feel like from what he said today? What will he do for the people of Flint? Because the water's still not fixed. You guys are still fighting. You mentioned the lawsuit.
Well, I'm going to say this. Hopefully he will send more money into the Flint area, because as you know, infrastructure is very expensive, and we didn't do it to ourselves. You know, this was well thought out, because no one person made the decision. The request was sent to the governor's office, and it had to be approved somewhere. So to say that basically we created this situation, no, the governor created the situation. And like I said, I think the government needs to repair the situation. And if we need more funding, then we need to ensure that we receive more funding, proper funding, to take care of not only the infrastructure, but the children that was affected by the lead poisoning.
Absolutely. How about you?
I'm a Saginaw native, but I pray for Flint every day.
Of course, and we all do. We do a lot of journalism here in Flint, and we feel for you. Our hearts go out to you.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, ladies. That was wonderful. I appreciate your time.
What?
We're Status Coup. We're an independent outlet. Hey, Jen.
Okay, you guys are gonna be live now, but she's still watching until you finish it, because it's a the
Of course, we all do. We do a lot of journalism here in Flint. So thank you so much, ladies. That was wonderful. I appreciate your time. I'm live again. Okay, guys. So there you have it. Melissa had a lot of thoughts during that interview. But first, I want to say that the light is blinding, guys, if I'm blinking a little bit here. So from Jordan, this interview is a case study on why status quo exists and why we need more members. So the fact is that these ladies were so nice, incredibly sweet.
And receptive.
They were incredibly receptive as well. They wanted links. They wanted videos. As I mentioned earlier, they wanted more information. And the people of this country want more information. They want to know what's going on. They just don't, because all they have to rely on is the mainstream media. That's until we came along. So please don't just consider it. Become a member. It's $5 a month. You might think, oh, $5, that's not really going to make a difference. $5 will make a huge, huge difference to us. It all adds up. statuscoup.com/join. I also want to welcome, I can hardly see my phone because I'm blinking away the lights. Can you, Melissa, read the new members? Because I can't see them right now.
Yeah. 450 watching, 350 likes. I see lots of, but
Just the new members.
oh, I was like, hey. Oh, so yes, welcome new Status Coup member Sean, now 99 members away from 1900. Congratulations. Oh, and then also Alex, so 98 members away. Awesome.
Yay! So welcome, Sean and Alex. We are so glad to have you. I need to not look at the light. Keep joining statuscoup.com/join. We love our new members. I also saw, while we were airing that, we got an amazing super chat. I want to try to find it.
Like three of them, like $2, $1.14, and one.
So great. Let me see. They might have disappeared. So let me click on this one from Jean Sheed, and or maybe Shade. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but we love you. You are always so supportive and so incredible. $99.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much. $100 in the super chat. She says, "Good to see you again, Ty. Let's get Jordan in the spin room. Let's do it, guys. Jordan in the spin room. Jordan in the spin room 2020."
I think it was Jenn A that gave the $14.99. I remember seeing her name.
Okay.
Jenn A.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, guys. We're so sorry if we miss any super chats. We're juggling 100 different things here, but we really appreciate you. We love you. We love your support. Statuscoup.com/join. I saw a lot of comments in the chat about that interview in particular. Remember, the primary is tomorrow here in Michigan. The media is playing it up as another Super Tuesday, but Michigan is really the big one tomorrow. It's one that Bernie won. It's a state Bernie won in a surprise victory in 2016. So, Melissa, your thoughts on the interview that we just saw with the Biden supporters?
Well, it breaks my heart because the things that they feel so strongly about, Biden doesn't. Like, they were talking about trade and then, of course, talking about infrastructure and talking about accountability and, but then again, I get it because I live here and I know how limited our media is and how it's so focused by whoever's sponsoring this and that. So no, I mean, a lot of the sundowning things that were brought up in video clips have not been played on our media here. And again, when you keep the public uninformed, then they can't stand up and demand change. And, they didn't realize his age. And they obviously haven't seen the clips that, the media doesn't want out. I actually got to see some of the clips actually aired from Australia. I'm like, well, first of all, I feel like they're laughing at us, but not, I didn't take offense to that because this is ridiculous. But also, why did I have to go to an Australian news source to see these clips, and it's their mainstream media. And again, I think that's why we're in the state we're in, is that so much money is poured into mainstream media to give us these little bits and pieces of sound bites that might just make us angry or make us feel a certain way, but it's not fact-based, or it's partially factual and then there's an actual reason behind it, or it's just a flashy headline and people don't read further. They don't get to the actual point until the end, or they never do. So I mean, I blame mainstream media, and I blame the people whose money is put into that to actually keep us all basically uneducated. And as much as we try, because even if you do go look online, it's very difficult unless you know what you're specifically looking for. And if you don't know what you don't know, how are you supposed to figure that out? So again, the people in charge should be ashamed. Again, it's us. We're numbers. We're somewhat votes. We are this, that, tax dollars, but we're not human beings that are entitled to accurate information so we can make the proper decisions. I mean, it's how they kept us poisoned in Flint. I mean, they were telling people, oh, nope, it's just their brown water. Oh, nope, it's just that one dead person. It's not you. It's not widespread, and actually it was, and more people died. So that's how this happens. It's keeping people uninformed, misinformed, lying straight to people's faces, and that's why our country is in such a mess. And again, those women, I think it's amazing that they weren't so shutting down. When you brought the information out, they said they have to look it up, and they asked you, for the information, and they were receptive to it. That's amazing. We need more people like that. And then we need us, the people who are slightly more informed in certain things, to not be rude to the people like that who are willing to learn. I mean, the people who are totally posting lies, I rip into them. Feel free to do so. It's fun. It makes me feel better when I'm sick in bed. But the thing is that when there are people that are receptive, we can't attack them and call them stupid and all that stuff, because again, they can only know what's been handed to them, and if they don't know what to look for, they don't. So again, we have to try to bite our tongues, and I did, because I was upset and hurt, because that's my city. That's these ladies, they felt that they were informed until you brought up information they weren't aware of. So we have to educate them. That's our jobs, to educate people on, no, this is the actual truth, and hand it to them. And if they don't accept it, whatever, move on. But if they do, okay, help them learn, and then be very patient, because I've watched people's like hopes and views of democracy and the way the world works actually shatter behind their eyes, and it's hard. You have to kind of walk them through, no, this is the reality, and especially when you're explaining white privilege, and when you're explaining how widespread the environmental disasters are and how many people are left to die. It's hard for people who maybe have been in a bubble, a media bubble or a sheltered bubble they grew up in. It's hard for them to actually accept it. And so for the people who are willing to and go through that transformation, that, oh my God, help them through it and be patient. But if they're not willing to, move on.
Absolutely. And I want to welcome new member Carla. Yay, Carla. Kudos to Carla. Thank you so much for joining. Statuscoup.com/join. Keep it up. We are now just 97 members away from 1,900 members. That makes such a huge, huge difference. Keep joining, guys. Just $5 a month. I know you want to speak on these ladies as well.
Yeah, I think to piggyback off what you're saying, just in addition to like media suppression, it's also algorithm. That plays a huge part in the information that you get. If you're not seeking that, the algorithm only reinforces the things that you want to see. So if you're getting your information from Facebook or which these ladies are on, that was the only social media they was on, because I sent them all the information. They wanted all the information. They gave me their emails, and I sent them all the links to Biden, everything that he said, even the videos that I've done on the Section Independent on YouTube. Go check it out. And so they were receptive. But, I mean, at the same time, they were arguing their point because that's what they believe. Anyone that believes what they believe going to argue their point. They're not just going to lay down. But once they started to hear more and more information, they wanted more. Like, after we turned the camera off, we had a very in-depth conversation. They was asking for it. I let them see a video, and it was like, oh, can you send this to me? I'm going to send it to all my Facebook friends, is what the lady said. And that's what we need, because with Bernie Sanders, 45 and up in the black community, he's not touching. And now you got these. Flint is big, but it's not big. People know each other, especially older people. Their social media footprint is Facebook. Period, point blank. That's why they don't get all the information from Twitter, IG. They haven't got there yet. They'll get there in like 10 years when we'd have moved on to something else. But that's what it is. So if they can believe it and show their friends, man, that could put a real dent in by tomorrow, because they got the information. I sent them a lot of stuff, and hopefully they can send it out, because it's real and they just didn't know. And if you look at the information, if you're not seeking it out and you're just living, because a lot of people don't have time to follow politics. This is what we do. So we have to follow politics. This is what you guys are interested in. So you guys are listening. But for the people that have to work, the people that's sitting here wondering how, is this water going to poison my child, or how I'm going to feed? It's a lot of poor people here. So I can't be worried about the politics if I'm worried about how I'm going to get my next meal. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of stuff going on that what's going on in politics that all seems like a circus. I can't be preoccupied by it, because I got to feed my children. I got to figure out how I'm going to get another case of water or something like that. So you think about that, you can understand why people aren't properly informed. And what they do is they hit the news a little bit and get their information from CNN and MSNBC, who obviously have a bias. They're damn near, especially MSNBC, works on Biden's campaign. Why do you think Chris Matthews retired? You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to assume responsibility to be able to inform. That's why I was so thankful that we were able to talk to these women, and I was so thankful that they were receptive and like giving information. And even the one lady was really good friends with the mayor, so they were really good friends. They've been on each other. Yeah, so hopefully it presses a dent, and who knows? You know what I'm saying? I think based on what we saw today at Joe Biden's thing and what we saw the last couple of days with Biden, it's hands down. I don't know what that means, but yesterday he had 10,000, and yesterday afternoon he had 7,000. The day before he had, I don't know, like 3,000 or 4,000 in Flint. It's there, but I think we have to make sure that we're doing our part as well, because we got to inform and not be so critical. In understanding, this is me. I get frustrated as well. I look at a video like, what the H? Go through that, get over it, but then inform them. And you got to also remember to inform and to open somebody up to be willing to hear what you want to say. You can't insult them. If you trying to give me some information but you insult me, you think I'm gonna listen? No, I'm gonna cuss back at you. But if you could come at me right and open me up to receive what you got to say, maybe you'll get it through. Because if the intention is for the person to get it, if it's as important for me to give my point, if it's as important for them to receive it, then you gotta tailor how you give it to it. You know what I'm saying? How you present your point. Because if you present it aggressively, you're not gonna get people listening. They're gonna just fight their side. But if you can open them up, maybe then for them to receive it, because that should be the point. The main intention should be for them to receive it, understand it, ingest it, and try to find more information, so then they can transfer over to this side. You know what I'm saying? That only comes from people being open, not from you like, now listen to me. Ain't nobody paying attention to that. So, presentation is everything, but I really appreciate it. And I think that those women was an example of the reason why a lot of black people, I think, throughout the country, older black people, I have this conversation with my aunt all the time, older black people in this country don't like Bernie Sanders or just don't know enough about him, because they're not getting the information. They rarely talk about Bernie Sanders. Even if he wins, they rarely talk about him. Look how much press Biden didn't have to spend on more money at the Super Tuesday. All the press he got. They don't talk about him. And so when they do talk about him, it's all bad. So if that's all they're getting, it's like if me and her kicking it all the time, and every time I'm with her, she tell me bad stuff about you, and it could be not true, but I'm going to ingest all that, and that's what it's going to be. And when I come at you, that's how I'm going to approach you, because that's all I'm getting. And not even, you know what I'm saying? So that's normal. That's how people normally react to things. So we just got to make sure we do our part and understand that people can only have a chance to believe what they receive or the information that they get. For the longest time, black people couldn't get books. They wouldn't give us information. And it's been information hidden from black people for the longest time. Why would they stop now? Come on now. I can talk all day. The Section Independent.
Yes, definitely follow Ty's new channel, The Section Independent. You can find it on YouTube. I want to give some more Super Chat shout outs. Thank you, Winter Val Thane, $1.99 in the Super Chat sticker. Love it. It says, hey, you, cute little sticker. We also have Big Guy Simple Productions, $10 in the Super Chat. Mention Christopher from Iowa. Sorry, and I become a member. All right, Christopher from Iowa, become a member. Do it. They'll be so happy. Statuscoup.com/join. We'll be kicking Ty off the porch if he does, in fact, have corona. Statuscoup.com/join. Don't forget that when you join, you get behind-the-scenes content, behind-the-scenes videos, behind-the-scenes reporting, TMI member calls where Jordan and I reveal way too much information that we shouldn't. Statuscoup.com/join. I believe we had another super chat. John Nada or Nada.
What's happening?
$4.99 in the Super Chat. Bernie calls Biden a decent guy and a good friend.
That bothers me as well. You know what I'm saying? You can be a decent person after May, or when is the convention? June. After June. July or June? June. After June, you can be a nice person. Right now, he should be your enemy. If you don't want to say nothing, bad, don't say nothing good. He don't need to be your friend right now. We know he's your friend. Stop saying it.
All right.
He's not acting like your friend.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That part. Look how many people he got against you. He acting like a gang out here. Yeah. It's like Crips and Bloods, and he got them on you. You better do something.
All right, let me finish reading this guy's poor guy's super chat. He keeps saying he will campaign for Biden. Bernie Sanders told New York Times he would preemptively strike U.S. enemies. Okay, thank you for the super chat. Any more words to say on that?
Who would preemptively strike U.S. enemies?
I don't really, John, if you can rewrite that, it's a little difficult to understand, though. I know it was like
somebody lied to say that.
Conformed within the super chat constraints. So write a little more on that if you can, because it's a little confusing. Any more in the super chats? Keep them coming. Statuscoup.com/join as well. Just $5 a month. Okay, so we are going to talk about Joe Biden's cabinet choices here. So this came out today. It's from Axios. And if I'm looking at my phone, it's because I'm either looking at articles or looking at notes or looking at Jordan's texts. And trying not to look into the light. Jordan would never do that.
So, yeah, I'm the one that had to tell Joe, I'm like, you should say something, because he would do it. Like, he'd be interviewing people like this. He'd be like this. I'm like, you should mention it, because that just don't look right, bro. Okay. And then he started mentioning it.
All right, so don't yell at me. I'm paying attention, okay? So Joe Biden's secret governing plan out of Axios. Joe Biden confidants are privately discussing potential leaders and cabinet members for his White House, including the need to name a woman or African American, perhaps both. Oh, how generous.
Name a woman or a African American or both? Just a
his
one?
African American over there.
Oh, the one?
Like Trump.
As vice president, top sources tell Axios on HBO. Why it matters. Biden advisors describe a return to normal plan. Oh, yeah, because returning to normal is all we need to do.
Normal wasn't okay. I got poisoned under normal.
Exactly. So a return to normal plan, a reversal of President Trump's unorthodox improvisational style. All these people care about is Donald Trump. They don't realize how bad things were, that people got poisoned under normal.
Normal, so ain't nothing's ever been right for black people out here. Native Americans either. Spanish people, nobody. Poor people all together. But don't think that this just happened with Trump. Come on, man. Stop playing. Trump is a manifestation of the corruption that's been going on. He's a symptom. He's the effect.
Let me just say that people voted for Trump because they were tired of normal. Was it a good decision? Oh God, no. But that's why they voted for Trump, is because they were desperate, because the normal is killing them. Good God, people. So tone deaf.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yeah.
so when you don't talk to, normal people.
Praise him.
So Biden wants known, trusted people around him, many from the Obama years. So we'll go through. They call it several high-profile possibilities. So John Kerry is one. John Kerry.
He about to pass out.
John Kerry would love to take a new cabinet position devoted to climate change, or might even accept a curtain call to return as Secretary of State. I mean, it's John Kerry. Anyone have thoughts on John Kerry, or knew that he was still around?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the concern was age. I mean, no offense. I mean, I'm not ageist or anything. But I thought that was a
The concern.
is the youth? I'll let you finish. I'm not gonna. I know the answer.
They're acting like Republicans. Remember back in the day when Republicans were saying Obama in 2008, Obama was inexperienced, and then all of a sudden they get old girl from Alaska, and then experience don't mean nothing. And that's what they're doing right now. Oh, old age is an issue. He just had a heart attack. Now all of a sudden, oh well, you're ageist. Come on.
Absolutely. Susan Rice,
You should
formerly.
get into it with
I don't know. Who? Susan Rice, formerly President
Sanders.
Obama's national security advisor, is another option for state. I mean, Susan Rice, the right wing will have a real field day with that. They're not Susan Rice
Nina
fans.
Turner, I think. Didn't they get into it on Twitter?
Not that I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I thought maybe I'm tripping. Mike Bloomberg.
Another one, a potential one, is Mike Bloomberg,
What?
as you know,
That can't
has
be true.
dropped out
this
of the
must be a
Democrat.
biased thing. Is that true?
No, I mean it's being
another-
floated.
It's
What?
actually other. It's that same thing's popping up.
See, that would
Yeah.
that almost seems like more of a lie where someone on our side would just like throw that out there to make people feel. That's crazy that he would.
Well, he's gonna pay for his whole rest of his campaign, so he's gonna owe him.
Okay, so we should shut the fuck up about Trump. Then. Let's just shut the fuck up about everything Trump done about women, everything Trump does, how rude he is. Just be quiet about it. Because the DNC is doing he is exactly what Trump is, just on the other side. So let's just roll with it. That's who we are.
Well, as I mentioned, when Mike Bloomberg was still in the race and it was looking like he was surging, and he was at one point surging, I said, I have said that I will vote for the Democratic nominee, but when it came to Bloomberg, I could not do that.
He's not a Democrat. I'm sorry. He's a Republican in Democrats' clothing for this convenient time.
And I don't even care about him not being a Democrat or Republican. He's corrupt. I mean, stop and frisk. That's okay now because that's how much they hate Bernie. That they're willing to, what he did with women and the NDAs that he had on all these women, that's okay now? Because y'all want to get rid of Bernie?
The DNC doesn't just hate Bernie. They hate us. They hate the people who don't, they hate all the black and brown children, let's just say that, because 16 and up, or however their age was, that were thrown up against a wall because of the color of their skin. They hate women.
How many
They
people was deported
God.
during Obama's years, Latinos.
Yeah.
A huge ice problem in Flint. People were getting snatched up trying to go get bottled water. I mean, it's disgusting. And how is this okay to continue? I actually have a loss for words. And when does that ever happen?
It's
real.
infuriating.
Oh God, so DNC just hates us all. Great.
And a D-triple-C.
Unless I'm a 1% white male.
Yeah, for sure. So as we know, Mike Bloomberg, when he dropped out, he immediately endorsed Biden, which I know was a real jab to his ego.
Right.
But that would obviously not be a good match for America.
Biden straight said in a debate that he and Obama tried to send in a mediator to stop and frisk. Like, was totally attacked him, which, I mean, I was impressed. I was like, hey, he remembered that. But also he went after him about it, so he's going to put him in... What is he, for race relations? Like what's his job going to be?
They don't specifically list this. He's just being floated.
He's just a guy. He's just a guy.
Just a guy in the room.
Checks. That's what
He'll
it
be
is.
the next
Well, we know that
just floating to Ukraine, getting the son a job again.
That's fine.
we know that can happen in the government. Just random people seem to be in the administration with no real titles, no real.
I was here.
Just putting people on boards and making them $5 million a year.
Yep,
Hey.
exactly. So another one being floated is Sally Yates, the deputy attorney general under Obama, who stood up to Trump and was fired. Would be a leading contender for attorney general. I don't have much to say on Sally Yates. I mean, obviously, it's a typical Biden sort of pick. Here's one that's real interesting. Senator Elizabeth Warren is being floated as Treasury Secretary.
Why?
Because of what
Why
she
would
did
she
with the
want
banks.
to?
So they're listing that she could help unite the party.
Okay, hold on. Elizabeth's entire reason for existence in politics is for political gain. Period. She stands on nothing. Period. Point blank. She
Well, and
did it-
that's the thing. Like, here she is. She's not endorsing Bernie Sanders. She's purported to be this progressive. We've talked a lot about this on Status Coup, that she doesn't have true convictions, and that is showing to be the case. If she truly believed in the progressive cause, she would have immediately endorsed Bernie Sanders and his policies, and she has not done so. And here she is being floated as part of the Biden team. Could this be why?
Money. And yeah, I mean, why didn't she? I mean, Bernie's the one that's been standing next to her. They were holding hands when they were marching, and he, even after the digs and the false information aimed at him, he still stood by her. And it's like, okay, well, and people were talking about a Warren, Sanders, ticket. Okay, cool. Bring the progressives. The people call themselves progressives together. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay, so she would be over dealing with the banks, the people that, oh my God. Well, there's not disappointing, that disgusting. No, how about don't, because I know a lot of Warren followers are going to be crushed if they see that. But then also, I mean, it is what it is, and it's been out there, and it seemed like she was trying to change her ways and try to actually move more towards the people, and that would be a hell no, that she's not.
How many Warren followers do you think that are following her because she's a woman versus for actually policy and being progressive?
A lot. I mean, they like that she's says that she's progressive, but a lot. Because, believe me, I would love to, in my lifetime, see a woman president. But I want a woman president who's going to fight for us and to make a change. So that way we're not laughed out, that our first woman president is not somebody that hands us over to the banks and, kind of bends over to the conservatives and doesn't actually stand strong for us. And so, yeah, it is very odd for me to be, behind, an older white male. But I'm like, it's not the person at that point. It's his policies and his stands and what he stands for, which align with my beliefs, which is human rights. So, I mean, yeah, please let a progressive woman come roll. I mean, Nina Turner ran. I'd be crying. I'd be so happy. But, I mean, at this point, like, it's just a strong woman that actually stands for the people. Can we just get that, like, for once, but actually stand for the people and not bend and not break and not give in? Because then all of a sudden, then women are weak and women this and that and all that stuff. So that would have been great. I mean, honestly, it would have been great. And in 2016, I voted for Bernie in the primaries, and I did vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm like, okay, I couldn't vote for the apocalypse. So, so I voted for Hillary Clinton because that's the right thing to do. And they keep saying, by the way, that Bernie supporters gave the world Trump because we didn't vote. No, wrong. Yes, we did. We voted for Hillary. And even though it was against a lot of our values and what we were standing for, we still did it because we felt that was, yeah, and it still happened. But
whatever.
Right.
Whatever. If you want our vote, earn it. You shouldn't have to give your vote. I honestly, it doesn't matter to me if people want to do that or not, because especially what the DNC is trying to do right now, they're forming a coalition, a elite coalition to go against, and people feel like you're putting your foot on their necks. And that everything that they're fighting for doesn't even matter to y'all. It's like y'all giving us the F you finger. Look at what we're doing.
And honestly, there's a part of me that just screams, if the elites and the establishment and the status quo are fighting against somebody, that means they're doing something right. And somebody had told, actually, I think it was Jesse Jackson and Santita, his daughter, actually told me that because I get attacked so much. They're like, because what you're doing is right. You're standing up for the people, and the elites don't want that. They do not want to spend the money to fix what they broke. They don't want to start this trend of people being held accountable and human lives actually being made it important, the poor people being lifted up. So then I think about this and I watch all of them attack Bernie with the most ridiculous stuff from the 70s or whatever. And I'm just like, but you're not actually attacking his policies. You're trying to attack him personally. And when you're doing that, that means you're scared. That means you see that change is coming and people ain't going to put up with this anymore. And that we realized, oh my God, we actually matter. Black lives matter. We say Flint lives matter, but even though we get treated that no, we don't, and so does everybody else. Black lives matter, but no. Okay, so why are you still, shooting kids? But still, that's the thing, is that we're trying to push for change. And if the person that we feel is going to represent us the best is getting attacked by the people who have kept us down for so long, that means something. It means I'm voting for the right person.
100%. Okay, I want to read some super chats because they are flowing in. So $5 in the super chat from JK. The power players working to defeat us are terrorists. They kill people. They are fighting to keep the war machine alive. Beware the military-industrial complex. I mean, that's come up in a lot of interviews. I think it was Eisenhower, that one.
No, when Martin Luther King spoke, Nina Turner
quoted
on militarism.
Beware the white
liberal whites.
Yeah,
and military
of
is
Absolutely.
military. I don't know how to say that word.
Military, yeah, it's
How is
hard.
it?
It's a tough one. The military-industrial complex.
I know that part, but how
But the militarism.
Military.
Anyway,
Okay.
the audience doesn't need to hear us try to pronounce words. So it's so true. Absolutely. Thank you for the super chat, JK. Seth Peterson, you are so incredible, Seth
look at
Peterson.
you.
You
Boy,
are
appreciate
always
you. You too,
supporting us.
JK.
Absolutely wonderful. We cannot believe it. $50 in the super chat. Seth says, I feel super fortunate to have discovered Status Coup. Your in-the-field reporting is a godsend and gives me renewed hope in journalism, knowing that real journalists like Jordan, Jenn, and Ty are out there exposing the corruption in this country. Seth, thank you from the bottom of my heart. If I could make a heart with my hands right now, I would. So imagine that I am doing that.
Appreciate you, Seth.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank
I
you.
miss y'all, by the way, too.
John Nada, $4.99 in the super chat from New York Times. Question: would you consider military force to preempt an Iranian or North Korean nuclear or missile test? Answer: yes. I'm so sorry, John. Maybe send us a link because I need more context on that. Still, let's see here. Scrolling to make sure there are no more super chats. Keep them coming. Oh, I think that's just a normal thing that people can do. I won't let Jordan take credit for that. For the do sound. All right, here. Making sure. Okay, going back to this article. Let me flip through.
Oh God, no, there's more.
There's more. Okay, so it gets I won't say worse, but it gets more cringeworthy. So Jamie Dimon, chairman and CEO of JP Morgan Chase, and mentioned over the years as potential presidential candidate. And Melissa, you probably know more about this than I do, but he had JP Morgan had something to do with privatization or money in Detroit, trying to privatize Detroit's water.
Absolutely. I mean, well, that was one of the main reasons why Flint was switched off of Detroit, was not because Detroit didn't cut us off, not because they did whatever. No, because Flint is the biggest customer, and they've been trying to bankrupt Detroit so they could basically sell and put it under state control and piece it off and privatize it to the biggest seller, to the biggest buyer, basically. And yes, JP Morgan Chase was a part of this. And so what happened is they pulled Flint, the biggest customer, off of Detroit. Detroit went bankrupt. The city went bankrupt, and then their water system did as well. And that was the last bastion, the last asset that the public in Detroit had. And yeah, here comes, of course, whenever there's a tragedy, then, which a lot of times is caused by these big banks, then all of a sudden they swoop in and just start buying up the pieces and what's left. And that's why people don't really live in downtown Detroit anymore. It's privatized. They knocked down public housing. Newer public housing to build the new Little Caesars Arena because the Ilitch family. How could you do that? You put people out on the street. And then now, of course, the suburbs are mad because people are being pushed out of downtown into the suburbs, the homeless people and people who are in need. Oh, my God, it's horrific. They're like, Detroit's made a comeback. Where? It's just like saying Flint has clean water. Where? Yeah, okay, the wealthy people that invested right downtown where people no longer are allowed to live, or you're not even allowed to be homeless and suffer there anymore. They push you out to the suburbs. They're pushing them out so people don't see them, just like how they're pushing Flint under the rug so nobody has to look at our poison faces anymore. Thanks, Chase. Yeah.
So an absolutely disgusting pick, a whole slew of disgusting picks here.
Not shocked.
So, okay, are you ready for this next one? Biden advisors expect Pete Buttigieg to get a prominent slot after his swift endorsement of Biden, perhaps as ambassador to the UN or as U.S. trade representative.
But why? Okay, so is this all that I get it? And I sound naive by saying it's all favors by your rich friends. Oh my God. But I mean, look at them. It's billionaires backing Buttigieg. But it's the same thing. Oh, and by the way, let's just keep repeating and reminding everybody that, yes, the billionaires who backed Governor Snyder, who, led us right into being poison Flint, also back Biden. Also, Bloomberg, by the way. Bloomberg supported by Governor Snyder's reelection. So maybe I wouldn't be poisoned had he not thrown his billions into that, or whatever, thrown his weight around into that reelection. Thanks, Bloomberg. And all the other billionaires that helped fund our poisoning. But not our fix.
What a corrupt web. All these corrupt people. They're all...
And they're like, ooh, we poisoned Flint and got away with it. Let's go to the next city. Let's go to the next post-industrial city that needs help. Let's poison them, get them the hell out of there, knock their houses down, sell them up for pennies, burn them down, whatever, because we have people snatching up empty houses all day long and, complaining about the blight. Oh, well, yeah, you just pushed the family out because they couldn't afford their poison. Let's buy it up, knock these houses down, not make homeless, because we got a large homeless population in Flint. What had happened, besides people being kicked out for not being able to pay their water bills, is also people got on buses when everything busted out with Flint and that there was a state of emergency. They thought we were going to have funding and money. So people spent their last dollar thinking they could come up to Flint and would be able to get help and assistance and actually get resources. And they got here and there's not any. We don't have any open homeless shelters right now that have space. They're all huge waiting lists. There's on waiting lists people sleeping in their cars tonight. They're on waiting lists in Flint. And that's if they have a car, to get a place for them and their families to stay. Another, One Stop was just closed down because no funding. And how is this humanly possible? But Flint's fine. No, we just got homeless, poison people on the street. And then now we have people that have imported, trying to look for help for their problems, and we don't have the resources to give it to them. So, yeah, thanks, billionaires. So, yeah, they funded Governor Snyder. Bloomberg's throwing his money for Biden. Do you think anything's going to change? And if you think that it is, and if you think you can't become Flint, no, that's wrong. Just no. God. But nothing's changed.
Absolutely nothing has changed. And Pete Buttigieg, so as Jordan would call him, Mayor CIA, what would happen if Buttigieg gets a position in Biden's cabinet? That puts him in a perfect position to have another presidential run. I mean, it's Pete Buttigieg. He's uninspiring. What happened to the Pete Buttigieg who wrote that essay about Bernie Sanders way back when? What happened to... the Elizabeth Warren who was fighting against people like this? What happens to people? I don't understand how people can. I mean, obviously, it's just a part of history that people get corrupted by money, people get corrupted by power, but it's always disturbing and disgusting.
You should come live with us and be poor and poisoned because we ain't budging.
It's all theater, and it's frustrating, and it's disheartening, and it could definitely detour a person and just snatch their spirits and hope away that you can actually make change. When you see something like this happening and you see people not standing on any morals, but everything being compromised, and you start to realize that it all was a joke. It all was a big joke on us. Nah, that ain't me really. I just wanted to get elected. So now I'm gonna go here for my political career and position myself so then I can stay in here for another 30 years or 40 years and end up, having a lifelong career. That's why I think they need to have term limits on everything. The Senate, the House, everything. When you have term limits, they can only do 8 years. And then guess what? We can get people that normally look like us ethically and like generationally. Like, it's how many... AOC is the youngest one. Everybody else is 40 and up. And then it goes to like 80. Like it doesn't reflect, and millennials are the largest population in this country, and it doesn't reflect what they see. And then you see these people like Buttigieg positioning himself. He damn near had Bernie Sanders' platform initially going in Medicare. Then he shifted because things wasn't, oh, no, we're not doing it over there. Kamala Harris, same thing. Then she shifted. Remember initially, when they started having debates and announcing their candidacy, damn near everyone. That's why Nina Turner said it best. She was like, you know who won this, on the first debate? She's like, you know who won that debate? Senator Bernie Sanders, because everyone on that debate stage had Bernie's platform. But then you see him shift. because it's not about us. It's never been about us. What's name been waiting to get out of where's Buttigieg from? What city? Always Bend. What is it?
South Bend.
He's been trying to get out of South Bend since he became mayor. He want to get in the big city. He want to do something large, and he's willing to compromise anything. You see it. I'm not talking about his character. He showed me his character, and I'm just telling y'all about it.
Absolutely.
And people say that, like, why is Bernie so angry when he speaks? Hello.
Exactly.
That's why. That's it. I mean, if you were saying the same things over and over for 30 years, your entire life, and it wasn't sinking in and there was no change, yeah, I'd be a little irritated too. Oh, wait, I am, because people get on me and say, it's almost 6 years, and people are like, why are you just throwing out your angry rhetoric? And I'm like, well, I kind of want to punch you, but I didn't. So I'm actually not angry me. You don't want to see angry me. But what I can tell you is that why don't you go ahead and live in a poison city like this and watch all of your neighbors get sick and die and fall apart. You get calls today, like I did, from a friend who moved to New York who is terrified that his compromised immune system from living in Flint is going to make him more susceptible to the coronavirus. What should he tell his doctor? Oh my God, can you send me some water? I mean, you try living like this day in and day out while people on the outside are telling you, no, it's fine. And then they talk about, the Democratic Party, thanks to Bernie, whether he wins or not, he's moved them more to the left. Wrong.
What?
They just repeated what he said. People are saying that. And I'm like, no. And if they were, and if they're actually moving to the left, well, what about your policies? You can say this all day long. What are you doing? Oh, wait, you went back on your Medicare for all? You went back on, relieving student loans. And let me just remind everybody what happened to me over the weekend. Everybody says you don't want to pay your bills. Wrong. First of all, I pay my student loans. I'm in an income-based repayment plan that's almost $600 a month. It must be somebody else's income, but fine. It's what the government's telling me that I should pay to cover the interest and that I can afford because I'm poor. Fine, great, really expensive. And that's between my husband and I. So, in our student loans for this, great life we live. So what happened is I got an email saying that my credit score that I've been working on to try to refinance my house so I can replace my interior plumbing since nobody else is going to, dropped 16 points. Why? Because my balances on my student loans went up, even though I've never missed one payment. I have a 100% on-time payment rate. My income-based repayment plan is no longer keeping up with the interest, so the balances actually went up, and it knocked my credit score down to just junk, and it knocked it out of the category it was in, even like across the line. I'm like, oh, cool. So now I'm not going to get approved for this. We're going to suck with these crappy pipes, and if I do get approved, it's going to be such a high interest rate that I'm not going to be able to afford it. This is the life we lead, and this is crap that I have to pay $200 to $300 a month for a water bill that's poisoning me. I got to spend a bunch of money on bottled water, making some other idiot rich, and off of my poisoning because the rich people will not fix what they broke. And then I have to pay these student loan payments, which I'm paying my bills. And guess what? I'm being punished by being poor and on this income-based repayment plan, which apparently now is not enough. My income's not going up, but the interest rate is. So that's wicked awesome. So, yeah, and people wonder why we want that. No, look, we don't sit here and want something for free. I want to be able to survive. If I could take that $600 a month and put it into, fixing up my house, more real estate, but, putting it into the economy, that's a good thing. But right now, it's going to nothing. Basically, I'm throwing $600 a month into some rich person's garbage can. It's not doing any good to anybody except for the bank.
Wouldn't be complaining right now if they had to do what you were doing. Or every old person that's saying that we want something for free, if they're a year $65,000 is USC tuition. Imagine if these buttholes that these rich assholes that had to go to college and they had to pay that amount of money for each year that they went to college. You think they'll be saying what they're saying right now? They'll be like, what in the H is going on? But no, they were only paying $10,000 at the most a year, and probably those older people probably wasn't even paying that much. You know what I'm saying? And Biden and Bernie Sanders should be upset. Would you be upset? I've been standing on my feet for 30 years, 40 years saying the exact same thing. All of a sudden, the politics shift toward my way, and then you get people jump on my back, exploit it, and then jump right off and then go on somebody else's campaign.
That's right.
That wouldn't make you upset? I'll be hot too. He should be cussing.
Yeah, we should all be absolutely angry. It's infuriating, and this keeping up of the status quo is exactly what Joe Biden wants. And in a minute, I'll read a few more names. We're going to wrap up in a little bit, but keep a few more. No, unfortunately, these people are not in Jesus' name. So $5 in the super chat. Maker of Things. Where's the coverage about Texas, where 10% total count for Bernie was withheld, found on thumb drives? Massachusetts. Is indie media docile? This is unreal. No, we're not docile. We're just
broke.
Two people and broke. So statuscoup.com/join. And we are getting in tips from people about Texas. As I said, we are just stretched incredibly thin. So we want to be able to hire more people. We want to cover the shenanigans in Texas, the shenanigans in Massachusetts. So
if you watching out for that, though, we have to send it to these guys so they can blow it up. But we all have to be vigilant. We have to do our best to investigate and ask the questions, because it's got to be all of us standing up. And you guys can be our outlet and everything, but it's got to be all of us. Good digging, by the way, and keep digging into that, because I don't want to know, but I do. So
Absolutely.
I can let people know what's happening too. I mean, but also I'm driving.
We want to know info@statuscoup.com. We want to know absolutely everything that you have. Please only send us credible things. We will, of course, vet absolutely everything that's sent to us, but we also get an untold amount of emails. So please email us only with things that you have verified. info@statuscoup.com. We're not docile. We want to get after it. Believe us. We just need your help to do it. We need more support. statuscoup.com/join. Keep the super chats coming. We also have a $5 in the super chat from Green ID Lady 1. Thanks for the live reporting from the rallies. Of course, we do it for you guys, and we were able to do it because of our incredible members. So thank you. We love you all. My phone is freezing a little bit here.
It's freezing outside.
It is cold.
Outside.
It is cold out. It's
We're
okay.
in Flint, and it's raining now.
I'm freezing.
It was
I think I got
beautiful
the
and
corona.
warm earlier. We probably well, maybe it's too cold for it. I know viruses have nothing to do with temperature, but still, I'll just tell myself that. Yeah.
That's why I tell people all the time. And when they look at me like I'm stupid, I'm like, no, it has to be bacteria in the air. It's not just because it's cold.
Well, I think the thing is, the cold weakens your immune system, and then you're more susceptible. I think that's the science behind it. So Pat Fahey, $2 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Pat. We really, really appreciate you. Ivan Korea, $5 in the super chat. Okay, I will definitely address this one. You make me want to unsubscribe when you say you would vote for Biden in the general. Biden would be just as bad or worse than Trump. No. Trump is a fascist. Trump is a threat. Trump is awful. I'm not saying Biden is acceptable. I personally am a Bernie Sanders supporter. I personally am very far left. I'm a progressive. But we live in the country we live in. We live in the society that we live in. Right now, storm the gates after Biden's elected. But before then, we have to defeat Trump. So if you want to unsubscribe, bye-bye. I'll miss you.
Trump and there won't be future elections. If Trump stays in the next 4 years, there won't be future elections. It'll be King Trump, and we're all nuked.
What was that? Irvin, come on, bro. Goddamn. You can't turn your back on someone that doesn't see you 100%. It's okay to do things different. You know what I'm saying? I just got through ranting and raving about I don't feel like people should be able to do what they want to do when it comes to voting. If you don't want to vote, don't vote. You don't they shouldn't force you to vote when they're colluding to put whoever they want in. I get that, but why then say you will make me want to want to unsubscribe? That's not going to change her. She stands on morals. This is what we've been talking about our whole time. She don't feel that just because she think it's cool. That's how she actually feels. A threat is not going to help, and it wouldn't help anybody. Why would you want to do that anyway? Like we can coexist and not agree on certain. We agree on the fundamental things. But to say that, come on, bro, you better than that.
It's okay. We can all disagree, but I'm going to say what I'm going to say. I'm not going to sugarcoat things. I'm not just going to say things because people want me to. I'm going to say what the truth is, and that's my truth. So my phone's actually going to die, and I'm going to be calling Jordan in a minute before it does. So Status Coup, $10 in the super chat. So this is from Jordan. Real talk. We don't have enough funding past Michigan. We need 97 more viewers to sign up as members by tomorrow night for as low as $5 a month to afford travel to cover the Biden-Bernie debate next week. That will be in Arizona. We need you guys. And I just got good news from Jordan. Welcome, new member Liz. Yay, Liz. I would do a dance, but we're all squished together here. And it's cold. Thank you, Liz. We love you. Thank you so much for joining. You're going to get amazing behind-the-scenes content. statuscoup.com/join. I really, really appreciate you. John Nada, $4.99 in the super chat again. Can't send link here. Article titled Bernie Sanders Foreign Policy, The New York Times. I support you on Patreon. Thank you, John, so much for your Patreon support. If you could please just email us that link, because we're juggling 100 things right now. So just remind us, info@statuscoup.com. We have another new sign up, Matthew. Matthew, thank you so much for signing up. Yay, Matthew. Statuscoup.com/join. You'll get we're going to do the monthly members call, the TMI members call. So we're going to schedule that probably before, hopefully, Jordan goes to Arizona if we continue to have your support. Statuscoup.com/join. If you're already a member and want to support us with additional funding, statuscoup.com/support-SC.
JJ, yes, I'm freezing.
Yeah.
So cold.
It is cold.
It wasn't earlier.
So we are now 95 members away from 1,900 members. That's just 95 more people who need to join. Do 95 of you out there have $5? Please join statuscoup.com/join. We also have telethon. $5 in the super chat from Not Provided. My super chat was filtered for some reason, so I will post it in the regular chat below. Okay, maybe tag Jordan so we make sure we get that. Steady Drummer, thank you again. $1.99 in the super chat. I posted the story about Texas on Beat the Press. Honestly, I never have time to look at Beat the Press. Info@statuscoup.com is the best way to get a hold of us. PJ Coin, 12 euros in the super chat.
So
Please
that's
tell
like
me.
$15.
I don't know the conversion.
Like
Please tell me it's not all going to end tomorrow. No, it's not going to end. This is a long race. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. We'll talk a little bit if we have time before my phone dies about the polls. So it's honestly, the polls are not looking good for Bernie right now. Let me scroll up, or Jordan. Jordan, actually send me the polls right now if you can, Jordan, because I think it's like 100 messages away from where I am. Oh, I found it. So the Monmouth poll that came out, I believe today, or it's at least the latest poll we have, has Biden at 51%, Bernie at 36%. Obviously, Biden is surging post Super Tuesday because previous polls did have Bernie in the lead, or they were at least exchanging, leadership roles there. Yeah, so it's going to take a miracle, but that doesn't mean it's over for Bernie Sanders supporters. It's a long race. Yeah. There are a lot of delegates up for grabs. Michigan has 125 delegates up for grabs, and then they send, I believe, 22 additional ones. Yeah.
It can't be over because we're gonna win them all.
Yeah, as with everything, the delegate thing is confusing. So,
right. Who does these polls? Nobody ever asked me.
Right, exactly. Like, who actually gets in these polls?
Regular people?
Okay, so we also have MS Craft, $24.99 in the super chat. Thank you. How do we get the black vote? There is a narrative that Bernie doesn't care about blacks because they don't hear him addressing us directly. They don't like the people of color label. I don't get it, but I'm curious about your thoughts.
You
want to take this?
What'd you say?
No, I said they should have watched what he said in Flint.
Yeah, they should have watched what he said in Flint. But I think it's lack of information. There's nothing that I've seen, and I follow a lot, and not to say that the majority of my black friends are even a percentage of the country, but also travel a lot, and this is what I do, so I look at statistics a lot. It seemed like the major thing is that the voting block that votes the most is more secure in voting are 45 and up. 45 and up people, the majority of them, especially 65 and up, are voting for Biden. And that's because they're not getting the information. The prime example is the two black ladies that we interviewed today. They're not receiving this information. Everything they thought about Bernie was wrong. The things that they wanted from Biden, those are Bernie's policies. And they have no clue. When they were talking about stopping endless wars and bringing the troops to war, that's Bernie's platform. The only thing Biden says is bless the troops, but then deny them all kind of funding for hospitals and veterans and PTSD when they come back. You know what I'm saying? So I think but at the same time, that can be a part of it, and messaging could be something that can be adjusted. I talked to Cornel West a couple of days ago. I did though. I caught him outside and I talked to him about messaging, but I was talking more about because a lot of time they're fear mongering on the news about, oh, he's sending us a revolution. We don't want, Joe Biden said we don't want a revolution. We want results. That's boring as hell last statement. But I said, look. This country's been born on revolution. And I talked about this for the past couple of days. Literally, Revolutionary War. Independence from the Queen. Civil War, the Civil War. Emancipation for black people. The New Deal. Revolution of economics to get people working and going. The civil rights. All those revolutions have pushed us forward. And if we can connect. And he did it yesterday at the school in Michigan in what was it, Ann Arbor? Where were we at? In Ann Arbor, he actually did it. He was talking about how, was it a thought 10 years ago, a gay marriage? Was it a thought that a black man would be president? He really connected the history of this country with his movement. And I think if he connects, like, we were birthed on revolution. Right. What we're doing is American. This revolution is America. That's who we are. If he did that, I think people that are kind of apprehensive, especially like middle-class whites in the Midwest that love that type shit, they'll grab a hold. Yes, that is who we are. I shouldn't use that accent. But that's exactly, I think. But with black people, I think he can change it as well. I think he should change it if whatever's receptive, because you're saying the same thing. If you need to say black people, specifically black people, if you need to point out everybody, but obviously he's saying this is what we're going to do. I think the black people, to me, I feel that aren't receptive don't want to be receptive. The majority of black people that I know, that it's not a lot that's voting for Biden, but the ones that are, they don't even want to hear about the bad stuff that Biden's done. They don't want to hear about the good stuff that Bernie's doing. They don't want to hear about us connecting MLK's platform to Bernie's platform. They don't want to hear that. They just want to put their head in the dirt. So the only way it's us, really. We have to do it and point out, look, will this help us? This is us right here. This is addressing the issue, and somehow getting over the title and having to paint it out. I spent 2 hours today emailing these two ladies with these links in the video that I did, with not just the links of the media, but also the printed stuff that like New York Times did, my references to the video I did about Biden and what he did, how he lied about civil rights, and like I spent time because I wanted them to get it, because I know if they got it, they'll share that with their friends that don't get it, and their friends will believe them. Their friends have confidence in them, and so I spent that time to break it down for them. And I think that's kind of what we have to do too, as black people, especially to our older parents and stuff that ain't effing with Bernie. We have to really break it down. Look, it's right here. You know what I'm saying? And outside of that, I feel you. It's difficult. I'm having issues with my mother right now about it. Like, we be going at it, and we just got to keep pushing though. But I appreciate it. And thank you for the $24.99.
Yeah, definitely. I want to read something from Anat, actually. Please keep showering Melissa, Jenn, and Ty with Super Chat love. They have been zigzagging across Michigan, and they are freezing their tails off. That is so, so true. Also, Mary Bishop says, I'm already a member. Will somebody from Status Coup call me so I can give more? I am sick and not doing more online. Yes, please email us at info@statuscoup.com. We are happy to call you and get in touch with you. Same goes for anyone who wants to support Status Coup. So $2 from Frank V in the super chat.
Frank V.
I still support Status Coup even if I disagree with Jenn. Thank you. I think there's room for disagreement here. There's room for it. Amit Campbell, $5 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Jameson Doan in the $5 in the super chat. The polls are manufactured narrative to make the public accept rigged vote count in machines. It is happening. Exit polls reported by Ben Norton. Love Ben Norton. Let's see if I missed any more. It's raining, so we are going to.
It's raining, and I got the corona.
We're gonna wrap up in a little bit, but we're gonna call Jordan first and get poor Melissa inside.
Bring my coats in the car.
Oh my gosh! If you
I
want,
don't want to get up because I'll lose my warm seat.
Oh.
Then I'll be all the way cold.
From John MBWA, $5 in the super chat. Jen told you last week that tomorrow is is do or die, depressing if the economy tanks. Well, I didn't say I said it's important. It's an extremely important state, and Bernie Sanders has said himself that he believes it may be the most important state for him. So it is. It's Michigan, and Michigan is a microcosm of the country.
And we need Michigan. Like, Michigan is not like Mississippi, where when we get to the general, we're not going to win that anyway. That's going to go to Republicans. We need Michigan. And so if we have to win Michigan, and we have to win it because perception is real. And I think that's going to be a big part of moving forward after tomorrow. We have to win just for perception's sake. We have to win Michigan.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Maker of Things, $5 in the super chat. These recent polls aren't a true measure. It's staging to steal the Michigan vote. Thanks for the $5. £2 from Poopy Cakes in the super chat. Thank God for status coup. Ms. Kraft, 1999 in super chat. Amazing. Thank you, Ms. Kraft. I hear you and agree, but I'm hearing that narrative from black leaders that should have our back. Clyburn is a great example. Yes, agree. Okay.
I think Clyburn spoke on, what did he say? Certain things that we can't penetrate. Look at Clyburn, and I think he's probably an amazing man. The first time I heard him speak, I was like, man, he touched me. But he said, I trust him, is what he said. I trust him. Not he's good for the country. I trust him. It's about his relationship with Biden. That's why he endorsed him. It had nothing to do with anything outside of his allegiance to Biden. And when it comes to friendships and things like that, you can't penetrate that. You just can't. They've been in the game together for the longest time, and they're friends. And he was going to vote for Biden, period.
Well said, well said. Okay, welcome new status coup member Julie. We are now 94 members away from 1,900 members. Julie, yay, we love you. Thank you, Julie. You're so great. Statuscoup.com/join. Keep those memberships coming. Let's call Jordan and see what he has to say.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Sheridan.
What's happening?
I'm going to try to be quick because poor Melissa and all you folks, Ty has corona.
This is important.
Just put it right there.
So I think a lot of people don't realize, watching right now, sorry, Melissa, if I'm blowing up your spot, but, Melissa, like many Flint residents, is severely immune system compromised. So how bad does she want this information out that she is willing to sit in the freezing cold?
My doctor would be mad.
Right. At 8:30 at night. Why? Because the local media in Flint isn't telling anybody about the truth. The national media certainly is not telling anybody about the truth. So Melissa is freezing out there so she could get you the truth. Jenn, too humble to say so, has been extremely sick this whole trip. But not corona, but Jenn has been sick, but still braving through to go to these Biden events and show you that there's nobody there, to go to these Biden events and do the job that the mainstream media will not do. Jenn is literally informing kind African-American voters that Joe Biden has exploited them and their struggle and Ty's struggle for his own political benefit. That's Jenn doing that. And you are making it happen with $5 a month. Now, if you don't have $5 a month, that's totally fine. We don't want to make your situation worse. But I'm going to be totally honest. Jenn's out there. I've been looking at the books. We spent $15,000 in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, California, and now Michigan. Not just on the travel. There's marketing costs. There's social media costs. These damn text messages we're sending out. So when we're live, since YouTube doesn't let you know. It's costing us $50 a text just to let you know we're live. Right now, Ty,
yes,
move it out of the camera. So what is super important?
You got a delay, Jordan. So it's gonna happen again. I'm already on the couch.
Okay. What's super important is if you have $5 a month, there are a lot of outlets out there that talk about what they're going to do. They do fundraisers. They ask you for money. And then what do? They do Russiagate for 2 years. They do Trump 24/7. They're not out in Flint. We are. And without getting into too much, the story Jen and I have been teasing for months is on Flint. We have been very vague because there are forces out there that want to stop this information from getting out. But when this story is out, I'm telling you right now, you're going to be damn proud that you signed up, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month, or $179 annually. So sign up if you can. We're now 94 members away from 1,900. We got to hit 1,900 by tomorrow night so I could go to Arizona. Right now, we just don't have the funding. I am approved. I don't know, some CNN intern must have fucked up. I am approved for the spin room. That is where I interviewed Donna Brazile in 2016. So if you would like me to interview Joe Biden's campaign, if you'd like me to get anywhere near Joe Biden himself, statuscoup.com/join. The last thing I'll say real quick, Jen's been going around. She doesn't have time to read polls. I've read the polls. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's going to be very, very tight tomorrow, I think. I think the polls out there that show Biden up 15, 20, 30 are incorrect. Most of them that I have read are, as usual, undersampling young voters. Monmouth, in particular, undersampled younger voters. There is also reports out today that there is a rapid increase in last day signups in East Lansing and other areas. East Lansing and Ann Arbor for college students signing up today to register for the primary tomorrow. I think it's going to be very close, but I do not think Bernie Sanders is down 15 to 20 points. I think Bernie Sanders, we had no choice, but we were live during his town hall. I think he did a pretty damn good town hall on Fox News of all places. Might have swayed some undecideds in Michigan. And the last thing I'll say, when those of you who say tomorrow's it, tomorrow, it's do or die, I want you to look at Melissa Mays. Melissa May and her residents and her neighbors were literally poisoned by their own government 6 years ago. She has not stopped fighting. She has. I talked to her probably more than most people I've met around the country. Melissa Mays, she's sick. Her kids are sick. She does not stop fighting, even though she's been beaten down by the state government, by the federal government, by the corporations, by the media. This woman has been attacked and then some. I actually told her today, I might take a pause from journalism just to run your mayoral campaign. And she didn't even offer it to me. I'm just doing it.
He just offered. He's just doing it. All right.
So sign up, statuscoup.com/join, and do not think that tomorrow is it. Joe Biden is literally being hidden by his campaign. They're having events not open to the public. On primary day tomorrow, he has an event in Grand Rapids, not open to the public. Today, it was invite only. He literally was speaking away from the microphone today, so it could not be picked up. This is literally in Flint. He was speaking away from the microphone.
Yeah, he kept he was speaking from a teleprompter, but just was talking like this.
It's not over tomorrow, whatever the result is. But I looked at the polls. Joe Biden is not up by 20 points in Michigan. That is false. They are undersampling younger voters as usual. One of the Monmouth only polled 400 people. Melissa knows, and all of you know, Hillary Clinton was up 21 points. 21 points in 2016. The day before the primary, she lost by 2. It ain't over till it's over.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Melissa. Thanks, Ty. Go get warmth. And we will be live tomorrow.
Yay, thanks, Jordan. Oh, welcome, new Status Coup member, Bryant. Thank you so much for joining, Bryant. Yay, Bryant. statuscoup.com/join. We are going to sign off because it is cold, it is raining. Oh, welcome, new Status Coup member, Anne Marie Mason. Thank you so much for joining, Anne Marie. You're incredible. We absolutely love you. statuscoup.com/join. Keep on joining. As I said, we're going to sign off, but that doesn't mean you can't keep joining. You can. You can join whenever, 24/7. statuscoup.com/join. Sign up your cats, sign up your dogs, sign up your grandma, everyone. And you can also support us at a variety of amounts at statuscoup.com/support-SC. Thank you so much, Melissa and Ty. This has been amazing. Good stuff. And we will see you very, very soon.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Follow the section on YouTube.
Yeah, follow Ty on YouTube. And follow Melissa at Flintgate on Twitter. You definitely want to read that. And by the way, I'm not sitting next to her sick. I'm getting migraines. I want to make that clear. So not contagious.
We'll share germs. It'll be fine. I got a headache. People give me headaches, and I actually feel terrible because I'm sure the cold is being horrible to your brain, and we need your brain.
I'm on good medicine.
I was gonna cross my fingers. It's too cold. Never mind. All right.